Hi, just wanted to check in and see if we're all good to go here. Awesome. Okay. Yeah, feel free to get started and enjoy.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm Lauren. I'm one of the residents and I'm the facilitator in this group. So when I announce your program name, you can start your presentation. So first up is Cooper University Hospital.
All right, good evening, everyone. That are not on my infographic. So I first wanted to start a little bit about our environment, about Camden. Camden is right across the river from Philadelphia. Has a very rich history, including a couple of companies like RCA and Campbell's that really built a city. Subsequently, there was a large decline after World War II, hit an all-time low somewhere about 20, 30 years ago, and is experiencing a rapid rise over the past 20 years. Cooper has been a big part of that, and something that got us national attention a few years back was that there was a restructuring of our police force that really has made the city a whole lot safer, has contributed to the rebuilding, moving in of companies back into Camden, and has contributed to our increase in diversity. We have also had a four-year medical school in between that is now located in Camden, which has been very involved in the community and received the AAMC award this past year for its community service. Over the past year, I have seen a number of things at Cooper that have really made me very proud. I have been a program director at Cooper for 22 years, but over this past year, the amount of support that we have received from the hospital for all of GME, I think it really has been incredible. From the closing of Hahnemann and the ability for many of our programs to take additional residents and fellows, to their management of the pandemic, to their support of the residents and fellows through that, as well as the recent decision to give everyone who was a full-time employee at Cooper during the pandemic a $1,500 check as hero pay. Many things that have shown their support for their employees and specifically for the GME programs. We also have a very nice support from our GME office that has helped us with QI education, has a very active House Staff Council that has advocated for a number of changes and a number of things in our resident contracts, the beginning of a diversity council and a patient safety council for residents to serve as advocates and really try to get resident involvement in both of those issues to be stronger. Also over the past year to two, we've seen an increase in support for wellness, and the biggest thing I'm proud of there would be the mental health support that we've been able to acquire with a combination of our EAP support sessions for all programs. The interns and first-year fellows of all programs meet with an EAP counselor for support over the course of their first year. And a local psychiatry group we've been able to partner with to have off-site access to psychiatrists who really give priority to our residents and our students in order to be seen. And hopefully somebody's keeping track of time for me. A couple of other things that I'd just like to mention about us. Our location and how we get our patients really has given us a great diversity of patients. Our program size of 10 residents per year gives us a nice atmosphere. Our residents get a lot of autonomy. We're able to, faculty get to know the residents well, and the residents are able to get a fair amount of autonomy in managing patients. And our residents really walk into fellowship programs and practices ready to take care of patients. And that's something we've all been very proud of. I mentioned community. We have a community pediatrics rotation that before COVID allowed us to get into the community. We are hopefully we're doing that virtually at the moment. Hopefully we'll be able to get back to that. And we also have a primary care track that gets out into the community, out into the schools as well.
All right, thank you. The next program is Boston Combined Residency Program.
Hey everyone, my name is Kate Michelson. I'm one of the two program directors for the Boston Combined Residency Program. And my counterpart, Ted Sektish, is here. And we're both just really thrilled to be invited and thankful to the organizers for this opportunity. It is a first ever and pretty incredible to bring this many pediatricians and future pediatricians together. So thank you for being here tonight and on a Friday night. We're really excited to talk about the Boston Combined Residency Program. We always joke that it is not the most original name for a program, but we are a large residency that splits its time primarily between Boston Children's Hospital, a quaternary top clinical and research hospital in the country, and Boston Medical Center, one of the large city hospitals, first city hospitals, and the largest safety net hospital in New England. We also spend time on the newborn units and the NICU at Brigham and Women's Hospital. We have 150 residents, so about 50 in each class. And we really love bringing together what we think is the #1 best part about our program, an incredible group of people who are really passionate about taking great care of patients and families, inquiry and medicine, learning, and then a host of tools which they have used over their careers already and are developing and plan to continue to use to change the future of pediatrics and to be leaders in pediatrics nationally and internationally. We have multiple tracks within our combined residency program. We have a categorical track, which is our standard 3-year track that includes residents both based at Boston Children's Hospital, as well as children's that elect to match into our urban health and advocacy track, which is a track of 33 total residents, 11 residents each year, that identify a career focus on advocacy, equity, public policy, health policy, and health services research. We have research pathways, a number of residents each year who opt into the integrated research pathway and accelerated research pathway, which create dedicated time, usually 12 months and 3 years, to pursue research. And then we support combined programs in pediatric anesthesia, pediatric neurology, pediatric genetics, and internal medicine and pediatrics with the Brigham and Women's program. We pride ourselves in being a program that never sits still and is constantly trying to think about the most important and next best things to do in pediatric education and how our workforce and most proximally the training of pediatric residents needs to evolve for the future, and are always excited to be introducing new rotations. We have a really active residency program training committee with members from each class who meet on a monthly basis with our residency leaders to think about how to continue to grow and push and evolve the rotations that we have and the new rotations that are needed for the next generation. Some of the things that we're most proud of are our Keystone Block, which is 12 weeks in the intern year, dedicated to learning about general pediatrics, advocacy, adolescent medicine, and developmental peds, and maybe most importantly, the neighborhoods that our patients and families come from and how to be powerful ambulatory docs and advocates for those patients and families over the next 3 years. A resident as teacher rotation that all of our residents rotate through. our new behavioral and mental health block meant to very specifically advance our residents' skills in dealing with this epidemic across our country and equipping all of our graduates to be able to be effective in that space. And health equity and anti-racism curriculum that we are really proud of and continuing to evolve and partner with other programs and groups across our organizations and across the region and country. Ted, do you want me to pass to you at this point? I'm looking for him to see. Oh, Ted, you're muted.
There we go. This has been a crazy time. All of our new interns have started in the middle of a pandemic, and I've been meeting, and Kate's been meeting with all of them. But all I can say is what I'm most proud of are the residents. They're truly a family. They love what they do, and it's a great time actually to be a healthcare worker. You know, we're really finally hitting that high point in doing what we do and doing it so well. And to a person, the intern class has been positive and really, really excited about what they're doing. And so this is a great place to train, and we hope you look at us very seriously.
Okay, so moving on to our next program. This one's my home. So this is Geisinger Medical Center.
Hi, I'm Paul Molino. I'm not Nicole Fox. It was a little mess up in the schedule, but in any event, I really appreciate the opportunity to talk to you guys about my program. I'm excited that you're all looking at the Mid-Atlantic programs. As a former chair of the region, I can tell you that our region is truly blessed with some wonderful places. I just happen to think ours is the best. So we're really a large integrated health system. Geisinger is really the primary care provider for all of northeastern central Pennsylvania and the southern tier of New York. So it's a really, really large catchment area. And it includes patient populations that are primarily rural, but also there are a number of urban centers scattered throughout the region in Scranton and Williamsport and Wilkes-Barre and Hazleton and so forth. So there is a mix of patient diversity here, which is surprising to a lot of folks. Within this large integrated health system are a number of hospitals, although all of your education here is focused around our Children's Hospital location here in Danville. We also have a medical school within our health system, and those medical students all rotate through our Children's Hospital. And so our residents are responsible for and excited about part of their education as well. So it's a great opportunity to teach. Geisinger, the Children's Hospital here is really the only pediatric facility for really 100 miles or so. It takes an hour, 2 hours to get to any other pediatric facility. So if there's a kid sick in the region, we are the only children's hospital, and we receive all of those both medical, surgical, and trauma patients here, and we are a level 1 pediatric trauma center. The program itself, I think as everybody has said, and would echo that, the greatest strength we really have are our residents. We're very, very fortunate that we always seem to find a class of 11 categorical pediatric residents every year who really, become friends with one another and really lock arms to cross the finish line together. There really is not a competitive nature to the folks that are here. And I think it has a lot to do with selecting a place like Geisinger, which is primarily rural. The pace and the pace of life around here is very different. The quality of life is very different. Our location is in a town of about 10,000 people. So it truly is the only rural children's hospital in the country in a town that small. And with that comes lots of wonderful things. There's no crime here. I guess once in a while, every once in a while, somebody gets a fetish for lawn gnomes and starts stealing lawn gnomes and things like that. But there's really nothing of any significance from a crime standpoint. People leave their cars unlocked and their doors unlocked all the time. It's a 5-minute drive to work every day, and so you only have to fill your gas tank up once a month or so, which really does reduce the expenses of living here. And it's a 5-minute jaunt to put a kayak in the Susquehanna River or to hop out on Geisinger's own mountain bike trails that are right here on the hospital premises. So it's really a great place if you like to be out of doors and enjoy being outside. And that pace of life is really conducive to personal wellness. And I think we really have the market cornered there in making sure our residents stay well and stay rested and enjoy themselves. We have some really wonderful people in our community that truly appreciate the doctors that care for them. This is a place where our continuity clinics are filled with people who actually come to their doctor's appointments. So we have a 9% no-show rate in our continuity clinic, which is unheard of in residency programs. People still dress up their kids and bake you cookies here when they come to their continuity clinic. So it's a bit of a different place than when I trained in Philadelphia. So it's a real pleasure to see your patients in the grocery store and other places around here. So you do run into your families, at the amusement parks and other places around here. You get to feel like a doctor as a resident, which is really quite fun. We do have some really cool things at our residency program. Obviously, everybody has the same stuff with, all the typical rotations in level 3 nurseries and so forth. But we're really proud of our global health program. It's a program that's very advanced. We've been doing this for about 20 years now. And one of the highlights is that it's free. So we have, figured out how to make sure that no resident is disenfranchised for not having the funds or having to think about buying their children clothes and Christmas presents rather than spending $2,000 or $3,000 to go to an international location. We have a camp medicine program here. We are fortunate that we have a camp for children with disabilities about 15
You're
minutes
talking
away.
about Danville.
And so our residents
Dr.
rotate
Valero.
through there.
You don't know him. But
And
okay. He's still at the office. Wow.
I am at the office, thank you. So you may want to mute that. I don't know who that is. But the camp medicine program is really fun, and it does teach our residents a lot about caring for kids with special needs and really feeling like, as a physician, you are allowed to mix it up with your patients and enjoy their company, and you don't have to be so standoffish. We have a point of care ultrasound program here and a large advocacy program. One other thing we're really proud of is we don't have tracks at our residency program. Every resident is special. You have 12 free electives in your 3 years of residency here. And so you can pretty much design your own residency, and we really don't have a need to create special tracks for folks. So, it's really a personal place, located in a really idyllic, rural location in northern Pennsylvania, and it's been a great place to spend the last 27 years of my career, and hopefully I'll be here a little bit longer as well. I think that's about it for me, unless one of my friends who's on wants to say anything else. Great.
Okay, our next program is Penn State Children's Hospital.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Aaron Shedlock. I'm the program director at Penn State. We're located in South Central Pennsylvania, just about 10 miles from the state capital of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, in the town of Hershey, yes, where all of the chocolate is made. Thanks to my daughter who let me borrow this doll tonight. We're a freestanding children's hospital offering the highest level of critical care with both a quaternary PICU and a level 4 NICU, as well as level 1 pediatric trauma center, ECMO, CT surgery, and transplant services, including kidney and bone marrow transplant services. Being the only hospital, or one of the only hospitals offering these level of services in the region, provides us a huge catchment area of diverse patients from urban centers to rural farms. I'm really excited to be here with you tonight with one of my interns, Helen Chung, who was in your shoes just 1 year ago. Helen, if you're on, do you want to say hi and tell everyone a little bit about what drew you to Penn State?
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. As a previous fourth year med student last year, I remember trying to figure out, which residency programs to apply for, and it can definitely be a tough process for sure. So I thought it would be really nice to share a few reasons why I picked Penn State. So one of the things that really stood out to me about Penn State was the collegiality and the support amongst the residency classes, between classes, and also within the classes in conjunction with the faculty. We have 16 categorical residents along with 4 med peds residents, and I was really drawn towards like a medium-sized program that would offer you opportunities to personally get to know your colleagues, but also provide like appropriate coverage and everything like that for the wards. And in addition, what really stood out to me was that instead of having specific tracks, I love the idea of Penn State having residency customizable to meet your unique goals. So for example, I'm thinking about pursuing a career in either maybe Gen Peds versus hospice medicine. And I scheduled a breastfeeding elective that I'm currently on, since this is a topic that I had a lot less exposure to while I was a med student. And just being able to tailor my schedule to kind of help me focus and strengthen my clinical knowledge in topics that I'm less familiar with was really important to me.
Thanks, Helen. And just to finish up, there's a few other unique things I wanted to tell you about our program. First is that our children's hospital is expanding. It was built just in 2013 as a 5-story building that you see in the picture in front of you, but we are already adding on 3 new floors that are going to open this November to include a state-of-the-art 56 private bed NICU, a new labor and delivery area, and more acute care rooms. And our residency size has been slowly growing over the last few years to accommodate this expansion. And one unique aspect of our children's hospital, which is present in only about 20% or so of all children's hospitals, is that we have an intermediate care unit. And so that serves as a step-down unit from our PICU, but a step up from our acute floor. So if you come join us at Penn State, you don't have to wait for your PICU rotation to care for sick, really sick patients, but you can start caring for DKA or kids with trachs and vents on day 1 of residency, depending on the rotation that you're assigned to. I also wanted to highlight our Woodward Center for Excellence in Health Sciences Education. This is an organization that provides numerous opportunities to develop your medical educator skills through lectures or rotations, retreats, and different clinical educator programs. And if you're particularly motivated, you can actually become a Woodward Scholar and obtain a certificate or even a master's in education during your residency, which would be fully funded by our department. There's many other opportunities that you can see listed in front of you that you can read on your own or come visit at our website that I have the link listed on here. I just wanted to reemphasize the fact that we really do focus on individualized experiences like Helen mentioned in the breastfeeding elective. We purposely do not have specific tracks so that every resident can craft their own unique personalized experience in their 3 years with us. So it's a really exciting time to join us at Penn State Children's Hospital. Please check us out on our website and don't hesitate to contact me at my email listed below with any questions that you might have. I really hope you consider us when submitting your ARIS applications this month, and I wish you all the best of luck. I know this is not an easy time right now as you navigate this challenging virtual interview season, but don't forget all of us residency program directors are doing the same thing. So we're all in this together. I know it's going to work out. I do wish you the best of luck, and thank you for your time tonight and for the PEDS match team for putting this together.
Thank you.
Okay, and the last program that we have is MassGeneral Hospital.
Hi, I'm Shannon Scott Pernelli. I'm the PEDS program director here at the MassGeneral Hospital for Children in Boston, affiliated with Harvard Medical School. And I've been at the MassGeneral for 20 years since I was an intern, and for the last 11 years as the program director. It's a really special place, and a lot of our residents either stay on or come back to stay on as faculty later. We are a children's hospital within a larger general hospital, meaning that we have all of the amenities of a children's hospital, whether that's music therapy or child life or pediatric chaplaincy and all of the subspecialties, but within a larger general hospital, allowing us to really leverage the resources, whether that's the proton beam center or the unique aspects of pathology that may really kind of work together well if a pathologist sees both pediatric and adult pathology. So we really see it as sort of the best of both worlds. We are located in Boston, and for those of you who are not from the Northeast, I think earlier someone referred to Boston as the big city of the Northeast, but what's always been special to me is its small town, kind of European feel. And it's a very manageable city. Most of our residents live on the subway line or may bike to work. And certainly during COVID times, those of us who live a few miles out in the suburbs are having a lovely and short commute into work as well. We, similar to a few other programs, very purposefully do not have tracks. We have very independent-minded residents, and when we even proposed some small amounts of tracking, people didn't want to be bucketed as a global health doctor or an ICU doctor. They really wanted to be able to take advantage of both, and even the idea that you might be tracked sort of didn't sit well with our residents. So instead, what we are able to do is have mixed inpatient teams, which means we kind of free up the subspecialty time so that 10 months of your residency training with us, you choose. So 1 month in your intern year, 3 months in your junior year, and 6 full months in your senior year, you're choosing among subspecialty, expanded subspecialty, and truly what we think of as choose your own adventure months, where you can design your own training time. We love our size. We're a medium-sized program or an upper medium-sized program affiliated with a MedPeds child psych track, child neurology, and a three spots a year of pediatric preliminary training for those who might be dermatologists or radiologists later on. But we're small enough that we are able to get to know each and every one of our residents and know them on a deep and personal level. And that's an incredibly important part of what we want to do, and we want to be able to do that quickly, and are finding even during COVID times when our interns get together on Tuesday evenings on the docks outside the hospital for what is fondly known as tummy time. So I'm going to give 2 of my 5 minutes, 1 minute each, to my 2 residents who are with me tonight. And Vidya Kumar, one of our senior residents, is going to say a quick hello.
Hi guys, my name is Vidya. I'm a PGY3 at MGH. I'm so glad to be a part of this session with you all. I think Shannon echoed a lot of what I really love about our program. I think the thing that I think about the most is not having specific tracks, but having so much individual time to kind of really carve out and really explore a lot of our interests. I'm someone who's pursuing a primary care career, and so that was incredibly important to me as I kind of thought about ways to bolster and really create more skills for myself kind of entering into the workforce. So something I'm doing right now is pursuing my lactation consultant training. I've worked and done primary care electives kind of out in the community, both in Cambridge and Revere, to kind of really explore the lay of the land out there. And I know even folks that are exploring things like NICU and PICU have been really being able to carve out more individualized things, like working with a nutritionist in the NICU to kind of think about how to troubleshoot TPN. If they were interested in the PICU, they kind of did almost like a sub-fellowship to kind of explore what it meant like to be a fellow in the PICU. And I think the size of our program and the fact that we work so closely with attendings and our fellows really allows us to kind of jump into those opportunities, create those opportunities for ourselves fairly easily.
Awesome. Thanks, Vidya. And Kelly, do you want to just say a quick hello? I know everybody's anxious to get to the Q&A, but.
Yeah. Hi, guys. I'm Kelly. I'm second year at MassGeneral. Shannon already touched a little bit on like what my favorite part about MGH is. And I think it's being a hospital within a hospital and the quality of the education that affords us, being able to work with, even like adult medicine specialists when we were redeployed during COVID. I will say like one small example of that is one of the MedPeds attendings I worked with on the COVID floor. I was texting with her earlier this morning about a podcast episode, and like later on that text message, she was sending me pictures of her little daughter. And so like just an example of how close-knit we are, but also just the variety of attendings and education that we get as a part of being our MGH FC at MGH.
Awesome. The one thing I'll just add, and then we'll close, is about half of our residents go into generalist fields and about half into subspecialty fields. So I'll turn it back over to Lauren. Thank you guys for having us.
Okay, and I have to apologize. There's another program that was left off my list. So our last program is UMMS-Baystate.
Yeah, so I'm Stu Mack. I talked a little earlier when we were talking about the Northeast region. I apologize for calling Boston not too quaint. It is a very quaint city, and I enjoy going there. So we are in Western Mass, out in the Springfield area, and so we're about an hour and a half actually from Boston, about 2 hours from New York City. And we're the only tertiary care children's hospital in the Western Mass area. We're a children's hospital in a hospital, and we have a wide catchment area that really allows our residents the opportunity to take care of a wide range of pathology, socioeconomic statuses, and cultural backgrounds. Our residency program is kind of what I would call a small to moderate size program. We have 9 categorical pediatric residents per year, which is kind of a little bit on the small side. We have 1 neurodevelopmental disability resident that comes from Boston that will be with us for 2 years and then go to Boston Children's Hospital for the last 3 years. And then we also have a relatively big medicine pediatrics program, which is why I say it's kind of moderate size. We have 8 med peds residents who come into the program per year. So it ends up feeling kind of more like a moderate size program, but with the kind of closeness of a small size program, since we have a few less in actually just the peds program. You know, when people ask me about the culture, it's really supportive, it's friendly, the residents are all close together. They tend to hang out not only when they're working on the wards, but oftentimes outside of work as well. And the faculty is also very close to the residents as well, in that we don't have fellows, and so there's a very close, many fellows, we have a couple fellows, but so there's a very close working relationship between residents and attendings, which a lot of people enjoy when they're residents here. We don't have any tracks, but we do, like others have mentioned, have a very individualized learning experience. And given our size, again, we really get to know the residents at an individual level to make the experience what they need to get out of the 3 years that we have with them. Some of the distinguishing characteristics of our program is the lack of fellows, so the residents have direct interactions with the attendings. We have a longitudinal offsite program that our PGY2 and PGY3s do, where they can really pick what they like. So if you're really into cardiology, I'm a pediatric cardiologist, so that tends to be where I go. You get to spend your second and your third years with the cardiology folks, half a day a week, and really get to know them. And it's worked really well for both mentoring, but also in doing scholarship with a lot of our residents presenting at venues like PAS, AAP, et cetera. We also have a dedicated behavioral health rotation with psychiatrists, really help residents start to learn how to prescribe medications that are necessary for psychiatric and behavioral issues, which I think is an area that is becoming of more and more need and very important for future pediatricians to get. And then we also have a protected 4-hour period every week where residents have standard didactic lectures as well as table-based learning and other curriculum and advocacy, residency, resiliency, all of that stuff. And our graduates go on to have successful careers in general pediatrics and in subspecialty fellowships. We have also, like MassGeneral, about a 50-50 breakdown, although it does tend to vary quite a bit year by year. And I don't want to keep you guys too long because I know we're kind of running a little late maybe for the Q&A area, but I wanted to say thank you guys for sticking this out and paying attention while I talk towards the end of this portion. And I hope to have the opportunity to meet you all on the interview trail and hopefully welcome you all to our program as a new intern in 2011. So thanks so much for your time and for allowing me to speak.
Okay, so now is our Q&A portion. Surprisingly, there are no questions on the list that I have. So if any applicants have questions, put them in the chat and just make sure you say which program the question is for so we know who to direct the question to. Okay, so I have a question for BCRP. The question is the BCRP urban health track geared towards primary care?
Yeah, I can take that. And then we have one of our urban health and advocacy track residents here who can totally jump in. I was typing a question at the same time. I'm going to ask Shannon what the cookies were that her husband brought her that she tweeted about. Not necessarily. A number of our categorical and urban health and advocacy track residents will go into primary care. It is a group of 33 people who have actually a diversity of clinical interests, from primary care to hospitalists to general academic peds to subspecialty care, from ED to ICU to GI to ONC, and a lot of actually diversity in what they are academically interested in, from thinking about equity education and advocacy education to basic scientists who are thinking about resource scarcity and how that affects our biology, to people who are thinking about health services research and disparities in subspecialty care based on social determinants of health. So it really is a diversity of clinical paths, primary care otherwise, and academic interest, but with a shared thread of wanting to spend their careers focused on leveling disparities and focused on underserved populations. Colleen, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, my name's Colleen. I'm a third-year resident, and I'm a proud member of the UHAT track at the BCRP. And I'm a future oncologist, and I would say, just reiterate what Kate said, there's really, we're going into all different things, and I think some of the strongest parts about the UHAT track is that we're really able to leverage all of our different passions and learn from each other. And like Kate said, have this shared kind of desire to continue our work now and in the future and working on healthcare disparities. So that's something that I definitely want central in my career. And I think I came in not knowing what I wanted to go into, but having that community and ability to explore has been a really wonderful part of my residency.
Thanks, Colleen.
Okay, so it looks like I have a couple just general questions. So I don't know how programs want to answer these, but one of the common questions we're getting is, since the application cycle is a little different this year, are program directors doing anything differently with how they choose candidates for interview offers?
I'm happy to take this. I'm Shannon Scott-Fernalia. I think probably true for most of us. I think our programs all tend to use a really holistic review of applications. And I think what we want really is for you to take away reassurance that we understand your organ, what rotations you were able to do, whether you were able to do a pediatric sub-I or not, may very well be different this year. And we're all understanding of that and taking that into account. So I think I'll say our program is using a similar kind of in-depth look at our applicants, but knowing that your letters may not all be pediatric letters and that your rotations may be slightly different, but we feel strongly we can still assess you as applicants. I want to reassure you.
Does anyone have anything else they want to add, or I'll go to the next question? This question is for the programs that have tracks. Can residents still customize their curriculum even once they're in a particular track?
Hi, this is Ted Sektish. If you're in a certain track or a combined program, you have a little less freedom to customize because you have certain requirements that you have to meet. But there still is elective time, and you can always talk with the program director about whether you want to extend training a little bit or do something a little bit different. We ask our interns every year if they like to customize their training and exactly how they want to do that.
And I might just jump in. Hi, I'm Emily. I'm one of the second-year residents in the BCRP. I'm in the categorical track. And just to add to what Ted was saying about customizing, one of the great things about the BCRP and being at a place, I'm primarily at Boston Children's as someone in the categorical track. One of the nice things about Boston Children's is that you get so much exposure to so many subspecialties during your training, and as a result of that, you sort of fill some of those elective requirements by virtue of the rotations that you do. And there's also an abundance of opportunity at this program to do other things outside of your clinical time to personalize your experience. So I, for example, have become involved in several research projects. There are lots of resident-run groups and organizations that happen that I'm also a part of, and you can really tailor your experience in whatever way best suits your interests. Using those resources. And we also have individualized sort of learning plans and curriculums that we develop and discuss multiple times a year to make sure that every resident is sort of doing what works best for them, even within a track that has specific requirements.
Okay, the next question we got is for programs that don't have fellows within their hospital. How do you help residents with matching? Do you provide residents with a mentor in the same field, or allow residents to do away rotations at programs with fellowships?
I'm happy to take that one since we don't have many fellowships at UMMS-Baystate. So what we do is we set them up with a mentor when they first come in, but oftentimes what you come in thinking you want to do doesn't end up what you end up doing. And so as they kind of decide what they want to do, they oftentimes will have additional mentors that are in the field that they want to go into. As I was mentioning, we have the second site, our longitudinal offsite opportunity where they kind of work with the people in that area. So in cardiology, I would work with us for a couple of years. So we really get to know them very well over that time period of working with them. So there really there are formal mentors that people can have, and it's easy to set those up, but also there are oftentimes many informal mentors. And we do allow folks to do rotations at other programs. We oftentimes have residents go up to Boston Children's Hospital in cardiology specifically, because I'm a cardiologist. We'll have them go up to Boston Children's for a month in order to see kind of things at a bigger place, which would be more like the way fellowship would be. So I still think they get a great experience. And what I will say in pediatrics, one of the wonderful things about this field is that it's a very small world. And so, when you start getting into subspecialties, we all kind of know each other. And so it's one of the wonderful things that I love about pediatrics. And so, I have friends that are almost at every single fellowship program in the country. And I oftentimes will call them up and be like, hey, this is a really great candidate, and we'll talk about them and whatnot. So I think that's one of the things that's wonderful about pediatrics and the different subspecialties is that the further you go into subspecialties, the smaller the world gets, the more kind of collaborative collaboration there is between programs, especially when thinking about fellowships. So.
And this is Bill Gressley from Cooper. I would say more or less the same thing. Our residents end up feeling like they have several faculty that can help them with the career path. We also allow them to do outside fellowships as auditions for getting a letter for fellowship.
I would agree with both Stu and Bill as well. We do pretty much the same thing. It's also really important to assist those residents with identifying research opportunities early on during their residency. And so having a good research platform for those folks to join projects, even if they're QI projects, is really helpful and working towards that. So it's been a very valuable part of making a good CV to get into a fellowship.
Perva asked a question just about IMGs that I thought I would quickly answer because she popped it back up. I'll speak just for us, but I know this is true of other programs too in the region. We definitely consider IMGs and look, including those who have completed residency program. We're sorry that you have to repeat it in the United States after being well-trained in other places. We also occasionally will have second-year spots available for people who have completed enough years of training abroad that they qualify for a one-year waiver. And if you have specific questions, you could ask us about that.
I think we all would just tell you that we think you've picked the best field, and thank you guys. I feel like as we all wait, knowing that we're about to get yanked into another room, good luck, and let all of us know if you need anything.
Welcome back, everybody. If you could just make sure we're muted back in this big room, we're gonna get started here in 1 minute. Looks like most of us are back in. If you are from program leadership, we can't thank you enough for your participation this evening. It has been so wonderful. At this point, we would like to let you enjoy the rest of your Friday evenings as we transition to our resident-only portions. So once again, we thank you so much. We'll have our recordings posted and be in contact afterward for some post-webinar information. So thanks again for all the programs who have joined us tonight. Okay, so how this this next session is going to go, we'll probably run till like 9:30 or 9:35. That seemed to work, be a good chunk last time. So what Dr. Frona is going to do is he's going to randomize everybody into about 25 breakout rooms, and he'll make sure that there's at least one resident in each. It gives a really good resident to applicant ratio. At that point, you guys are welcome to use the time as you wish. However, what they've done in the past that seems to be really successful is some brief introductions because the groups will be so small. I'm from here, I'm excited about going here. My favorite thing this past week that happened to me was, it doesn't have to be serious at all. It can be fun and open. And just to begin getting comfortable asking questions, kind of practicing the ability to turn yourself on during a video interview will be very helpful for everybody. And then asking the residents the questions that you really want to know and might not ask anyone else from the program leadership. The residents are here to give us a very specific and honest insight, and to know that anything that you discuss tonight will be kept confidential within your breakout room, and we ask everybody to honor that as well. So with that, Dr. Frona, I think we are ready to randomize our wonderful after-hour participants.
Looks like you started already.
Awesome.
And yeah, just to echo what Nick said, really utilize this time. We're so lucky that we have so many residents who came out tonight for the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic session. So we're very thankful to all of you. And yeah, enjoy.
All right, I'm going to move you guys now, and then we should be pretty good. I might make a couple last minute switches just to make sure we have residents in each room. So just give me a second before you start, but here we go.